Good evening, everyone. So we are now located at the Festival of Linoleum, and this is the discussion which is dedicated to inclusion in culture and one more view onto the art of moving pictures and video art and cinematography. Auteur cinematography. My name is Katerina Yakovlenko. I am the researcher of modern art and a journalist, and today we'll have Stas Turina, who's an artist and curator, speaking with us. He's one of the founders of Deton Pula Gallery, the Open Group, and the co-organizer of Atelier Normalno, and also Stanislav Menzelevskyi, who's the historian and of cinematography and one of the publishers of the publishing house Medusa, and the author of the project's International Center of Alexander Dovzhenko. Good day, guys. Hello. We'll begin our conversation today with the film of Alexander Stashenko, which will be presented by Stas Turina. Good evening, everyone, all the viewers. Today we will show for your attention the adapted cinema script of Alexander Stashenko, which has the name of International Doors to Ukraine. This cinema script was created in 2019 by Sasha and adapted by us for the exhibition of Atelier Normalno in the Gallery of Naked Room. The idea of adaptation was born as we wanted to show Alexander Stashenko is one of the co-authors of our Atelier Normalno. Atelier Normalno is a workshop for artists and people who are creating texts, the people with Down syndrome. So in fact, that's it. So we can watch the film now, and then we will communicate about it. Alexander Stashenko. Well, we have the lexicon chosen by the author. So once they're in front of the gates of Ukraine, on the border with Ukraine, and the music, the stage. Greece. Yes, we are all Greece, and you shouldn't judge us. We are judged only by Zeus. Maybe you have the keys from Ukraine. We don't know how to get there. Georgia. Oh yes, Zeus. We are so proud. Georgia is such a sinning country, and like Ukraine. Maybe you have the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Greece. Oh, Greece, Georgia, don't overrate that. We are so dancing. We know how to dance, and Zeus can help us. Maybe you have the keys from Ukraine. France, and we are the French. We eat frogs. Zeus, maybe you have the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Georgia. Ew, the frogs. How do you eat such a... such a misery. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. France. Everybody says that we are frog eaters, that we eat the frogs. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Germany. And we know how to speak our German language, Zeus. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. France. You know only how to say Hände hoch, and that's it. Germany. Well, France, don't be offended, but we are like this. We have Hitler, and you shouldn't judge us. You're France. Moldova, and our wine is so sweet. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We don't know how to get in there. Poland. Oh, yo, well, this is not a big surprise. We are so proud with our Polish culture. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We don't know how to get in there. Ukraine, and we are so beautiful. We have the fields and the forests and the mountains and the valleys. They have so wonderful songs which are Ukrainian, and the dances are so remarkable. Russia, and we are proud with the Tsar canon, with the Russia cultural folk singing. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We don't know how to get in there. Belarus, and we are from Belarus. We love this country of Ukraine. We are clean with our spirits, which is our Belarusian. We are proud with our country, like our land, America. And here are the Americans who love Ukraine as well. And it shouldn't be, it may like Ukraine at all. Russia with a sigh, but we cannot get in there. Greece. No, let Zeus touch Ukraine, and we can ruin it with our Greeks. We can ruin this Gorgon. Georgia. And this is our Georgian side. You should pray, Russia, pray. France. Yes, yes, you should pray. Germany. We, the Germans, love this country, whatever bad it is or maybe good it is. We will, you give us patience, we will be patient. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Moldova. We are from Moldova, we love them, but maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Poland. We are the Polish. We love this country, our Polish with our government, and we are so envious. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Belarus. Yes, guys, we love more Ukraine. All of the Belarusians are praying only for Ukraine, and our Belarusian government is only for Ukraine and constantly saying that we should love Ukraine like this to all of from Kharkiv, from Lugansk, from Donetsk, Zhytomyr, Lviv, Poltava, Dnipro, and other cities. We cannot get in there. Moldova. Oh, you're such a country, Belarus, such kind-hearted, and by nature, maybe we should put a monument for you, because you know we don't know so many Ukrainian cities like these, but there are so many cities, and I cannot utter all of them because I will break my tongue. We cannot get in there. Poland. Yes, Belarus. You're such a remarkable country with a name of Belarus. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Belarus. Yes, thank you for such wonderful compliments. We are the Belarusians and love when someone is telling us. But maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Greece. Oh, Belarus. Maybe we should study how to be like you, Belarus, but maybe you have the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Belarus. Thank you, Greece, for such warm words. But it's enough to praise us, not us, but Ukraine. Look at all of the countries in the world, at this poor Ukraine. They drank so much blood from it. France. Yes, you're right, Belarus. We need to keep Ukraine on the surface as our mother. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Canada. Oh yes, we should love our mother and our motherland because it perceived and accepted all of us, and it's so painful to remember, and it's sad that we should share with all of that. But why do we do that? We shouldn't put up during the fight. We need to fight up till the end, the last drop of blood. Why do you do that with your foreheads? And we are to blame for that. We be in front of the Russian government. What other people are you? We really, really love you. You do that bad things with us. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. France. Those are golden words. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Canada. Well, France, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine because we can't get in there. France. No, no, no. Still you, Canada, said that you're such a nice looking, so maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Poland and Canada. I've got a question. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Canada. Yes, okay, but this is the question. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Poland. And when all of that is over, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Canada. Well, we don't know. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, because we cannot get in there. Greece. Well, you know, our Zeus maybe can give us the keys from Ukraine because we can get in there. Canada. Greece. We are totally sick of your damned Zeus. That's enough. Zeus. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Everybody went to their places, whoever which place they had. Greece, Georgia, France, Germany, Moldova, Poland, Ukraine, Russia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, America with the music. Episode 2. Spain, and we are so proud with corrida. Our Spanish love Ukraine as well, and you, Russia, Zeus, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Japan, we are the Japanese, we love Ukraine as well, and we are so proud that yours and ours government is like this. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. China, we are the Chinese, so we also love Ukraine and we respect them, well, the people. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Portugal, but you are the Portuguese, we love Ukraine so much, like such songs, such dances, such Ukrainian girls, they are like photo models and top models. This country is so remarkable, just wow, Ukrainian magic country. England, oh you, Portugal, you're so right, we are the English, so proud, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Belarus, we know, we are here, we are proud with our queens. They have the kingdom with kings and queens, but we cannot get in there. England, Belarus, don't lie to yourselves. We know that you've got such a weird country, Belarus, you're so weird, don't be offended. But still, don't speak like that, we cannot get in there. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Belarus, oh England, England, what a shame that you say that. You shouldn't name the nationalities, you should respect the others, but still don't put all the blame for us, Belarusians. It's okay, England, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. England, okay, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Romania, we are so proud with the castle of the Count Dracula, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. France, oh yes, with that castle of the Count of Dracula, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Latvia, we are so proud with our concert hall Zinteri, maybe you, where we could perform for Greece and Georgia and France and Germany, Moldova, Poland, Ukraine, Russia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, America. Lithuania. Latvia is so proud with your concert hall, but we are so proud with Lithuanian weather. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Estonia, and we are so proud with Estonian humor, so this is how you should do. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Ukraine, yes, yes, what do you say? There's Lithuania and Latvia. You're totally crazy with your Lithuanian and Latvian. What new things you can see in those documentaries or TV shows with the can you see any TV shows with Lithuanian or Latvian? Lithuania, you're mistaken that Ukraine has the right to be the best like we and Latvia. We shouldn't betray that Ukraine is the best on the planet. So we should act like we do. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Latvia, let it be like this, let them show the proof that Ukraine wanted to be that cunning with Russia. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Ukraine, you know what, Lithuania and Latvia, I'm totally tired of all your Lithuanian and Latvian deeds. You just know how to bother us. Lithuania, hey, stop. We don't do anything. Ukraine, you don't have anything to do with that. You shouldn't put the blame on us. You shouldn't put all the dogs on us and the Latvia. What you, Ukraine, have done, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Ukraine, Lithuania, you don't understand that Latvia can be friends with any other country, for instance with Armenia. Armenia, yeah, sure, maybe you've got the keys, but we cannot get in there. Armenia, Latvia herself is to blame for that, is guilty. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Latvia, Armenia, are you foolish? Armenia, are you totally crazy? Don't put anything on us with the Latvians. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Armenia, well, don't put that on the Armenians. That's enough. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Ukraine. Well, okay, girls, that's enough talking. That's enough blaming Latvia and Armenia. I'm looking at you and I think that this is a kind of a solo concert evening between Latvia and Armenia. What does it mean? Latvian-Armenian concert or what? Armenia. Latvia began all of that, not me. I'm Armenia. We are calm people, Armenians. We don't know, don't try to touch us, you Latvians. Maybe you're so offended, you're so bad with those reasons or without any reasons. Maybe you have such a Latvian president, he's so evil, or Latvian government, which is so evil, and the Latvians are so evil, we haven't seen it, and something is wrong with your weather as well. Everything is soaked with anger. Maybe you have this kind of Latvian anger at all of the people, but I know why you totally have those concert, vocal and humor competitions and festivals, and that is why people don't like those Latvians. You have those solar jubilee concerts. Everything is understandable, but maybe you have the keys from Ukraine, we cannot get in there. Latvia, oh, this is why you're so envious that you in Armenia don't have such a hall like we do. So when you build such a concert hall like Belarus has, but they have that in Vitebsk, then maybe this is why you're such full of anger, but maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. Ukraine, okay, girls, that's enough to go with those festivals. Honestly, that's enough. All of the countries have already quarreled. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Latvia, well, Ukraine, good for you. Ukraine is so wise. And Armenia, don't do that. Ukraine, you should study. Well, we have Ukraine on the world. If there is no Ukraine, nothing will be. So maybe then you will be aiming for everyone without Ukraine. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Armenia, yes, Latvia, you're right. We need to pay some time for Ukraine because it's so poor, it's so tortured because of all those griefs and blood, because of those controversies and persuasions. It is so painful for it, but it's so lucky because it has gas and water and oil and coal and light, and they have the Transcarpathian region with so many trees. Latvia, we want to live like Europe does, in the European way. They, the Ukrainians, live like this. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Armenia, that's why it's called the international doors into Europe. And where are the doors to Ukraine? Tell me, where can we get the key from the Ukrainian doors? Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Greece, but why do you need the keys from Ukraine? Tell me, maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. The Netherlands, but who took the Ukrainian key from Ukraine? Altogether, no, we don't know. Greece, well, you should confess, all of the countries of the world, we are fighting who's the best country, and we know who that is. All of the countries of CIS left, for instance, England, Belarus, Romania, France, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, with music. The third episode. Iraq, and we are so proud with Baghdad. We are the Eastern country. We are so proud with our sands and also with Eastern fairy tales like Aladdin, Ali Baba, and 40 Scoundrels. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Iran. We are so proud with the war, how to kill and to cut and to rape those wonderful women in the world. We like to look under their mini skirts and what we will bring to you. Maybe you've got the keys from Ukraine. We cannot get in there. Lithuania, oh, you're so lack of cultured countries, you're sexual maniacs. Just let us look who you are. Iran, yes, we are like that. Iraq, no, we don't have the roots. We have the roots only. Lithuania, oh, I'm so envious that have those Eastern characters. Iran, well, Litwa, what do you have under your miniskirt? The underpants? And what's your bra? Lithuania, do you want to have sex with me or maybe do something else? Iran and Iraq, yes, we do. Lithuania, okay, let's try. Iran and Iraq. Oh, girls, oh, Lithuanians, you in the bed, you are just what we need in our women harem. Lithuania, I didn't get you. Why should I be in your harem, in your Eastern and Arabic one? Iran, what do you mean? Iraq. Oh, so that's what you say, Lithuania. You should be our Eastern wife and that's it. Yes, 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 that's it. Iran, yes, you should be in our Eastern harem as a slave, as a female slave, an Eastern one. And what did you think? Yes, we are so far totally agreeing what you said to us. So what do you think? Yes or no? What do you think, Lithuania? Iraq, what? Iran, yes. Iraq. Iran, you don't take that much for yourself, okay, Iran? You shouldn't do like this. And you understood us with Iran what you should do. Lithuania, what exactly should I do? Iraq. Well, first of all, you should give us some humanitarian help. Secondly, what we need is to give us some places. Well, how long should we wait while you bring us the keys? Iran. Well, when do they bring the Ukrainian keys from the Ukrainian gates? Iraq. Well, we cannot get into Ukraine, but we want to rape someone. Lithuania. I didn't get. Who was with me in the bed? What will you say? Iran, Iraq, are you offended? But you promised me the golden eastern Arabic mountains and cars and limousines, villas and houses, castles and fur coats and skirts and shoes, and this is the Arabic eastern fairy tale, Iran. Whoever wants to rape anyone, the Ukrainians from Kiev, from Sumy, from Lviv, from Kharkiv, from Lugansk, from Zhytomyr and others, and to take to our eastern harem. Georgia. Oh, you, Iran and Iraq, maybe that's enough for you. You want to rape only. What's the calamity? Maybe you should stop that. France. Well, maybe you shouldn't spread those rumors, such sexual, as if you are maniacs. Russia. Why are you so weirdos? And Iran, and Iraq, and Georgia, and France. I did not get that. Belarus. That's enough to do like this. We are the country of Belarus. We're so beautiful and young and clever. And yes, we love the cleanness with all of our heart and soul and body. Ukraine, I cannot open my doors for you and let you in for all this misery to get into. I'm so tired, because that's enough. You, Russia, Armenia, France, Poland and others. I will not take you into my country, because we love our Ukrainians, the country we are proud of, with such country as Belarus. And you want us only to steal, to rob us and to rape our beautiful Ukrainians. We won't let you in, not a single one. I don't want to see neither Greece nor Georgia, Russia, Poland, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Iran, Iraq, Japan, China. Yes, I'm like this. You made me like this. And you can only break and run and kill and cut and rape. But we, with the country of Belarus, we spoke about that. You shouldn't judge us. This is a bit too much. We are Ukrainians, but we are not to blame for that. We are Ukrainians like this, and this is the country like this. Maybe you should love us enough. What did you do bad with you, we, and Belarus? We don't understand you. It's okay. You are to blame. You can go away. Do you get that? The Greeks, the Georgians, the Russians, the Poles, the Azerbaijans, the Armenians, the Lithuanians. Armenia. What do we have in common with that? Ukraine, you have in common that you are so non-grateful swines, the Europeans. The only thing you did to us, and you will tell me that you are the best. No, you are not the best. You are bad. You are the Europeans, both male and female. You shouldn't judge us. You, Greece, with your Zeus, you totally made us sick. The end. So we have watched a movie by Alexander Stashenko, and I would ask you to comment on it, because we can see, in fact, lots of different topics, some of the geopolitical games, some work with the stereotypes, and in the beginning Stas Turina could comment upon that from the point of view of the idea of the author himself, what he wanted to include, and then Stas Menzelevskyi can comment about it from the position of the cinema history and criticism. Yes, thank you. I have to say that we are speaking about the pieces of work. Sasha has written approximately 40 TV scripts, and he's going on writing them. So choosing the topics for that and explaining his choice of topics, Sasha has always said that he is worried about the topics he's choosing. As this thing, we got it by email from him, not just instantly after he wrote it. We cannot tell for sure what was the push for him to write it. So Sasha did not put the date when he wrote it. Sometimes it's not that easy for him to remember which month he wrote that in. You were right to notice that this is a kind of a mixture of, I would say, a fairy tale and stereotypes cliches and surrounding reality. I recognized lots of my own cliches about different countries, which still there and which used to be. Those are the things which we'd like to erase from our memory, but they still exist. But does the movie ruin those stereotypes? How does it process them? I would like to say, well, as far as it was told by Nikita Kapdan during one of his excursions in the exhibition in Komitiv where this film was screened, he said that we see the stereotype which brought itself in the deep forest and left itself there. It seems to me this is a very precise explanation and description, because I wouldn't say that this stereotype is close to absurd. I would say that when I look at the stereotype, at the cliché, it is coming as close to me as it's becoming dangerous. It's threatening me with its presence, and I can see this stereotype. Well, maybe not the same, but some similar one inside me, and it scares me. I'd like to say that. What's the bullshit? What are the dialogues? But you cannot say that, because this is my reality. Yes, I'm screening them out, what's the bullshit, but still, I am saying that not to the author, but to myself. Stas, maybe you can add? Well, I wouldn't say that this is a movie, a film. This is a kind of an exposition or exhibition genre. So this is a bit of a weird choice to show it to the people. There should be a certain context first. But still, I liked it. I am excited. Kadan has already poetically described this movie. I would say whether it's poetical or not through some optics of Shklovsky, who has written this Society of the Studies of the Poetic Language, formalists of the 20s who wrote about the poetic language, which takes us out from the automated perception where we think with stereotypes. So this is a rather interesting poetic and even geo-poetic politic language. Because now I rewatched it and it came to my mind that this is a super political movie and project, and this is the film about inclusion, this myth or utopia of Europe, at the gates of which Ukraine is always. The author is now inversing it, and everybody is wants to get to Ukraine. Yes, to Ukraine. They want to get to Ukraine. So this is in fact, this limit which separates people with disabilities from all the others. It seems to me it's very precise and very emotional, and it really sticks in my mind. And we need to pay attention that we emphasized on the form. This is the cinema script, so I'd like to speak about the cinema as the form of inclusion. And maybe you, Stas, could comment how often the artists take this form in your atelier, or in any other atelier, maybe in video or cinema or any other forms where we have moving pictures. Sasha himself, considering that the script was written visually not like the cinema script, in fact. There are no detailed descriptions of all of the episodes or actions but he asks not to name those scripts as plays. He says those are just cinema scripts, because maybe Sasha is dreaming about the bigger screen, about the movies. Well, I'm not sure he's dreaming about the film director. He's an acting actor of the theater Parostki, the theater studio. He was an actor in some episodes, for instance, in the movie The Tribe, and also he was an actor in some of the Ukrainian TV shows. He's taking part in the theses and diplomas of the actors of the university named after Karpenko Kari. And yes, he's dreaming about the movies. For him, it is kind of a significant dream of his life to have a very serious actor's part and maybe a complicated part. But as for other colleagues of ours, I never noticed any particular wish to take pictures or videos. Maybe this is just the kind of a habit, because if the artistic studios are very usual for us, the children's or youth cinema studios or cinema schools, which are rather accessible, is a rarity for everybody.
Знаю, що
I know that abroad there are some workshops, and I know the people who are managing them in Poland and Germany. Well, I guess here it also depends on funding, because movie production and video production requires funding, and it also requires certain skills, while drawing is something that you can do even as a loner. Sometimes you just need to have the simplest materials and paper. Stas, there is a slightly different question to you. How is inclusion represented in films and people with different disabilities? Are they acting? Are they working in other positions in filmmaking? This is quite a conservative system that requires some good funding, and I am more aware of American context, so I can tell about Hollywood, about the American system, because they have statistics. But regarding inclusion, everything is also not as good, because according to the official data by CDC, how do you call it, Center for Disease Control, Center for Disease Control in the United States provides statistic data. Every fourth adult American has certain kind of disability. And of course, they have quite a broad definition of disability, which means physical, mental disability, PTSD, so there is quite a broad spectrum. But looking at that, about 25% of people involved in filmmaking, we're talking both on people who are on the screen and behind the scenes. This number is large. Southern California University, one of the best film schools in America, carried out a research, and among 100 best films in 2016, the percentage of people with disabilities who appear on the screen are 2.7, almost 10 times less compared to the real amount of people with disabilities in the United States of America. TV statistics, even worse than that. In 2018 and 2019, 2% of people with disabilities can be seen during prime time. And over the last 9 years, this is the biggest figure, which is an absurd, which exists in the United States in a more or less developed world. And a larger percent, about 12.5%, on streaming platforms such as Netflix. The procedure is somewhat simpler. They've got more funding and have an opportunity to experiment. But this situation in general started changing quite recently. The best film that I would like to recommend everybody by Todd Browning, Freaks, 1932, probably the best, includes the film about inclusion. And there you see people interested in eugenics and Darwinism, and you can see people with disabilities only at freak shows. And Browning, he's the one who filmed first Dracula, and next he films this film where he is not working with professional actors, but rather people with disabilities, organizing castings across America. And he films this in such a way to show that there is not you and them. We all are one. So he's trying to destroy all of the bourgeois stereotypes about people. People started suing this film, saying that they had miscarriages while watching this film. So this is the first film that is well known and quite decent. And up to this day, from what I see, I could also pinpoint, again, if we're talking about stereotypes, there are several types of stereotypes, how people with disabilities are depicted, or even some multiculturalist code allows us to find many various actors, women, representatives of different minorities, but they will not always be depicted in an emancipated way. So the presence of a human being in a picture doesn't mean anything. So the statistics and my observation show that people with disabilities are being depicted in quite a stereotypical way, either demonizing them, so the person is depicted as a source of some social instability, like criminals. The most well-known film is of 1968. I think many people have heard about it. It is quite. It has the same music as in Kill Bill. And then he kills the mother of a girl whom he likes. The film is called Twisted Nerve, and he has the Down syndrome, and that is why there is also a connection with his brother, with him, with his criminal aspiration. This film was criticized, and it was said that there is no proof that there is some connection between these two phenomena, but it was filmed in such a way that it doesn't require any introduction. And up to this day, every criminal in majority of films, say every antagonist in James Bond films, is normally a person who either is covered in scars or has something else, or maybe lost some of the extremities. And even in the last film, something is wrong with antagonist's face, but we do not yet know what, because they have postponed the release of the film. So here we're talking about antagonists. And another one is making them look infantile, like Forrest Gump. The most well-known dramas when a person with disability is depicted as somebody who is not capable of existing on their own, not capable of making some properly thought through things, who are not capable of existing in the modern world. Next to humanization, we can also mention turning them into heroes, which is like a positive stereotype. This also, for example, X-Men, I don't remember what is the name of the main character in the TV series. But again, this disability is shown as something that gives you some superpower, something that you cannot live if you don't get that superpower. And one more trope, the visual trope, is also Me Before You. This is quite a well-known film where the actors with disability are being played by the actors without disability. Also, out of these 2% of heroes whom we can see on the screen, 95% of them are being played by those who do not have any disabilities, and it is very often leads to scandals, court hearings, etc. So this victimization, saying that disability is God getting angry at you, punishing you for something. And there is also one more good movie that is called $1 Million Baby. And very often they say that your only way out is committing a suicide. But the problem with the stereotypes is that all of them are different kinds of dehumanization. There is no real human being. There is a human being as something that consists of human opinions about them, but there is no human being as such, no proper story. The situation started changing not a long time ago. In 1996, there were two films that came out, a duo, And also, we said for those who are planning to work with this topic, a brother who graduated from NYU has made a film about his brother who has a Down syndrome, and he wanted to play duo with a girl who played violin and he played piano. And movie Day 8 by Pascal, I don't remember his last name, who was the first actor with Down syndrome who got the Counts Award. And one of the last indie projects is the film that also became one of the most well-known projects in terms of sales. It is called the Peanut Butter Falcon. And they met at a summer camp where the workshops were organized, the script was written, the film was made, it was quite popular. It premiered in Sundance. Talking about the newest ones, there is a creep camp by Netflix. The name is quite not politically correct. This is a documentary created by one of the participants of this camp. This camp was founded in the 50s, but it was active specifically in the 60s and 70s as a reaction to all of countercultural movement. This is a camp where there were lots of hippies who allowed people to do whatever they wanted with very little paternalistic attitude. And then you're tracing the social movements in the United States of America, because some people from this camp became the activists who were fighting for the rights of people with disabilities. And there was an act about disability in the 1990s when they defined what disability is and realized that you have to change the urban infrastructure, change the streets, make everything more accessible, make the urban space more accessible for people with disabilities. So this is one side of it. And another one is Australia. Starting in 2009, they even have bus stops films, inclusive filmmaking, that's how they are called. This is a civil society organization that brings together cinematographers who are training people with different kinds of disability. They are teaching them filmmaking, and then they are doing films. One of them was Be My Brother. This was quite popular at the festivals, and also an interesting case is a case that happened to two Americans who also met at a very important platform when they can meet and chat, and I'm talking about people with disabilities. And the film was called something Zombie, slashing everybody during spring vacation. So they met and they got almost $60,000 at Kickstarter. They filmed this movie. This is a B movie with trash where Satan attacks students during their spring vacation. And they start running around trying to kill the zombies and the Satan. And in Australia, there is another good example, because they have a cultural commission at the ministry, and they have a project dedicated to... Something's happening to my memory today. This is a media program about what is not the priorities, privileges. Oh my God, I keep talking too much. It is dedicated to... They are talking about invisible privilege that everybody can use in real life. And they also made a film directed by Workin Hopper, a person with disabilities, who, the same as our author, loves dramas. And he has written a script to the director, met with the director in one of such incubators or hubs, you can call it whatever you want, and they created a film called Loop. in 2019, a documentary about how author is creating his film, and this is a beautiful film. I'd like to recommend everybody to take a look at it. So I believe the projects that are happening in the world like that are quite trendy. This is quite a trendy thing. It has potential for further cooperation in such developed countries and America, even though only now they are starting to pay more attention to that. Understand that films is something that you can do on your own, but mainly this requires teamwork. On the other hand, we have social networks, we have phones that allow us to take pictures and shoot videos that can be used. It changes our everyday communication, and it may also change the perception of artists. And I would like to talk about how social networks have an impact on that. And also now, Stas, you're holding online residence together with German colleagues. What is your experience based on that? Constantly being online, how does it impact the perception of artists? Are there maybe some things that they have already created? Thank you. Thank you for your question. I just wanted to add, I have recalled one more film, Touch Me Not, by Dini Petelatia. Produced in 2018. It also raises the topic of bodily matters and satisfying basic sexual needs of people with disabilities. And now going back to online events. This year we were supposed to have quite an extensive program, and this year Goethe Institute and our partners from Germany are helping us both financially and with their advice. This year's we were supposed to have exchange programs going to Germany, and our colleagues from Germany were supposed to come to Ukraine, advise us on creating a workshop as a place where things will be happening. Of course, lockdown has changed many of the plans, but I believe that it led to some other opportunities. It allowed you to completely go online. It became an interesting challenge. Of course, we were not prepared for that, but we started trying things out. This is quite a stressful situation for everybody. And during the first month of lockdown, everybody was calling their relatives, was thinking about things a lot, or was talking more with their parents, friends from different cities and countries whom they didn't dedicate that much time to before. Also, we worried about our colleagues and friends with Down syndrome. We didn't want to postpone the beginning of online work. It was first interesting to know how they feel. Of course, they all were worried because there was this uncertainty. I guess we all remember terrible videos from Italian hospitals that were shared on social media, so everybody was concerned. So we started working online, and online revealed so many things for our colleagues. First, they started creating their home workshops because we always were going to workshops by our colleagues, Elektra Rasenko, Elena Vasek, or we went to museums and galleries. And then they realize that they have to do that at home. So they all have their own space, say part of the room or a whole room or maybe a room and some other building that is used at the warehouse or a workshop. And the need came up to create this place where you can work. And I guess we'll play RPG games, and they started fighting for their own space. Well, not fighting literally, but creating some place in the space where they can work. And as our online work was rolling out, some of them started going outside. So going back to online communication, how all of this video communication impacted meetings when you're sitting in front of the screen. Let's take an example of our colleagues in Germany. Each of the trainers in our team has their methodology, and it was quite simple, I can say. Because the happiness, because of a meeting, it destroyed all of the technical hindrances and helped you overcome all of other challenges. And in the residents were working online. Of course, when there is poor internet connection, which can happen even though it's in that you have a perfect internet, of course, you pay attention to that. But the rest of the things, the topics of classes, communication, an opportunity to communicate for our colleagues, an opportunity to talk to colleagues from Germany. Well, we don't really pay attention to the screen anymore. Online becomes a tool, and it becomes a cool tool, moreover. Before the lockdown, we would call somebody and say, let's organize an online class. That would be weird, or even us talking to our parents. What online class? Are you gonna be drawing there and the kid will be drawing here at home? Why can't you simply organize it physically tomorrow? Or maybe a kid can just draw and then send you a picture of a drawing. But now it is the new normal. There is nothing weird about sitting in front of your screen. And it also gives us more time together. Some of our colleagues also started learning more about Facebook and Instagram. It seems that this online video mode, Zoom meetings or Skype meetings, and other platforms also allow you to do that online, that it destroys all of the borders. Now you can meet with your German colleagues. You can also organize meetings with colleagues from other countries as well, and it allows you to communicate either if you speak some common language, say English, or somebody speaks Ukrainian, or you can simply work with interpreters. So this basically creates new opportunities for your further development. So maybe this is more of an inclusive format. This is what I would like to talk about, the possibility of engaging other people in your creative process. Maybe Eustace could also comment upon this lockdown experience. Yeah, I keep reflecting on everything. I was now sitting and thinking, again, if we appeal to video and inversion that is happening there, say we dream to go to Europe, and on the contrary, Europe dreams to get to Ukraine, the country with disabilities, so to say. I think the situation with lockdown is a wonderful experience for people without disabilities. Because, again, it turns everything upside down. People who could move around easily, who were not restricted, suddenly find themselves in a locked space. And if you just think about it, this is quite an interesting and strange situation, which impacts a lot of people in Ukraine, because unlike the United States or Germany, you can see some people outside because we have poor infrastructure, poor public spaces. The majority of public institutions do not have ramps, or if we take metro stations, they don't really have ramps. We have elevators only at the new metro stations, so people have to be stuck at home. And I think that this will help some people understand inclusion. We see it reversed now, and I think that from the other point of view, this can be a beautiful experience. But I would also not verify technology, because technology is a technology, and you can use it differently. On the one hand, it seems to me that as everybody has already mentioned, working so much with virtual reality, it allows you to increase your freedom, especially for people with disabilities. Say, let's take education or work. Now, to go to some university, get to the third floor, you don't have to do that anymore. Online education changes it for better. People can dedicate more time to not trying to get through this thorny way of poor urban organization and infrastructure. The same has to do with work. In America, for example, now almost everything is done online. We don't know how long that will last, but now, regardless of whether you have disability or not, you have more opportunities of getting a job. You have better access to different workshops, master classes, online camps. I think that it can be a good thing, even despite the current situation with lockdown. Talking about video, there were lots of things about democratization of video, because now on your mobile phone you have a good camera. But it would be the same as saying that if you have a sheet of paper and a pen, you can become an author writing some stories or books. So it also is different in films. You can produce a film, but you still need some kind of a platform. There can be a festival or online platform where you can demonstrate this film to the audience. All of the directors with disabilities are talking about their voice that stays unheard, and films for them is an opportunity to be seen and heard, to be able to convey their perspective that we have adopted to ourselves without paying attention to others. That is why I think that except for media and digital democratization, production democratization, we should also create new educational platforms and hubs where people could communicate. I don't know whether online communication can fully substitute physical communication, because communication at a physical level works slightly different compared to online. But I can say that some of our colleagues during lockdown started their own Instagram profiles, and quarantine pushed them to do so. The lockdown pushed them to do so. And we kept in touch with them in messengers or in Zoom. And at a certain point in time, we decided to not be an intermediaries in their communication with the audience, and them learning how to work with it on their own. Of course, these artists might have not found part of their audience without us serving as intermediaries, but we are assisting them at, well, not getting to a certain level, but how do I put it? Creating conditions which would allow them to find a suitable audience. We're helping them to take the first steps, so to say. And our dream, goal, and objective is to help them become as independent as possible. And online helps us to implement that.
Well, I'm saying the same, but I'm saying that from the longer perspective it can change. And as for the reproduction, which came from the modern media, it's so easy to be lost in the flow of this information noise. In fact, we need some person or an opportunity to communicate and collaborate in the movies. Whatever you're doing is just, for instance, I don't know, to put together the scriptwriter with the film director or the actor. It seems to me that in this solidarity, in this common work, you can finally find some interesting potential to leave those limits which are put on the people with disabilities. And I've got the last question. Stas Menzelevskyi mentioned what will happen with those pieces further. The works of Alexander Stashenko were shown at several exhibitions as art pieces, and the different movie was also presented in the international magazine Flax when there was the festival screening. So, how much can the Ukrainian art of the artists with the Down syndrome can be integrated into our art? I do understand that it's not that easy to speak about the integration, but still, maybe in your opinion, with the response you've heard already, you could come to some conclusions or remarks. Okay, thank you. Well, in fact, I can hear the word wow, which sounds similarly in lots of languages. So as for Sasha's works, as he's working with the texts, he needs to be translated. Considering the peculiarity of his writing, it should be a poetic one, a nice one. I think that this is the wow which is done, it sounds because of the works of different artists, not only those who have the Down syndrome. This is the international wonder of art, when either certain speedy thought doesn't need to be translated at all. It is totally comprehensible. Before the lockdown, we had certain plans, the exhibition. We had the plans to to start out and launch certain exhibitions, to develop them with our Polish and Belarusian colleagues, and we invited some people from Germany, with some of the colleagues with their inclusion sphere. We are sharing some information from Russia. So, in fact, maybe this is not the marginal. This is the segment of art brut, I would say, so-called, or sometimes the outsider's art. It's not that significant, it's not that big in the whole world. So maybe it helps to create this sort of, at this stage of the development, it helps to create this international community, as everybody is happy to see applications from other countries. There are lots of institutes and competitions for the artists of the inclusion spectre. So it seems to me that in this sphere, the obstacles are rather vague, ghastly. Because I just feel them. I don't feel those limits. Maybe because our colleagues are dreaming, of course, to go to Germany or any other country. But where are the keys? Yes. Well, I would like to... Well, Zhenya wants to go to his friends, whom he knows in Germany, and Sasha as to Belarus, because you can always have the wonderful hall and to have a show there. And also they all of them dream about Ukraine, where they could live on their own. Okay, thank you so much, both of you, for the participants and for this conversation. We don't have any questions from the audience, and that is why I think that we could finalize our discussion if you don't have any conclusion words to add. That's it. We spoke a lot. Thank you so much and goodbye. See you. Thank you.